births conviction, it also births faith, because once you are driven by passion, you will never see defeat. You will keep going. When you fail, you rise up another time. When you fail, you keep moving. You're driven. You wake up past midnight to do the things you love. You wake up and keep doing and keep moving and keep going and going on and on and on and on. I will tell you another story about passion, about another person who I respect so much. And this man is called, actually there are two people, Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, who became the first people to climb and reach the summit of Mt Everest. Now I'll give you a backstory. Mt Everest has been known and is known actually as the highest point on Earth. It rises above 8,848 meters above sea level. So in the Himalayas, this is the highest point, and it is characterized with physical hazards. Yeah, because many people thought it is impossible to conquer or reach the summit. Why? Because of its height, 8,848 meters above sea level. And of course, because of natural ranges there, the physical hazards, there's snow, there's wind, it is cold, and there's rarefied air. It is hard for you to breathe when you reach a certain level of height. Now, on 28th May 1953, Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay became the first people, human beings, to reach the summit. What did they do? I look at the backstory of Edmund Hillary. As a young boy, he developed the passion of climbing, and he loved it so much. At 16 years of age, in 1935, he had a field trip at Mountain Rapehu, yes, in Oceania, I think Australia, New Zealand, where he was igniting a passion to climb and adventure. And of course, later he was a young guy, laid back, a bit of a laid back person, but he joined the boxing club. So boxing gave him confidence and gave him passion that he can go ahead and climb mountains and conquer them. And of course, as he was sharpening his passion for climbing, he developed a lot of skills and learned many tactics and techniques of climbing and developed that passion for climbing. I mean, he had made 7 agonizing attempts, 5 plus 2, 7 agonizing attempts, and failed to climb to the summit of Mount Everest. Wow, this guy was determined. 7 times he had failed, but he kept moving, because remember, passion is the fire. It is the belly inside you that keeps you moving, keeps you growing, keeps you doing things that you want, and things that enable you move and you feel like, wow, you're floating an inch off the ground. He made expeditions, and the summit, Hillary did not give up his dream. When he failed 7 times, he kept moving on. And finally, on the 8th time, he achieved it, because he said, it's not about the number of times I've failed. If I'm doing something I love, eventually, it doesn't matter. I will achieve it. I will achieve it. He became the first man. Him and his friend Tenzing Norgay became the first human beings to conquer the summit of Mount Everest. And because of his failures and a number of things he had done before, of course, later he was also accredited with being the first man to reach both the North and South Pole. Yeah, because after he conquered Mount Everest, he knew that now all his other dreams were possible. Let me tell you, if you're driven by passion, impossibilities become possible. They become possible, they become possible, and they become possible. Why? Because the passion is the fire. Actually, it is the fuel. It keeps you moving. It keeps you going with determination. Not looking back at your obstacles. Not looking back at the things you do. I will quote Benjamin Franklin, who was one time the president of the United States of America, and a very good inventor, credited for inventing the bifocals. Very good scientist. He said, and I quote, if passion holds you, let reason hold the reins. If passion holds you, let reason hold the reins. Find your reason to do something you love and go for it. Go for it. Continuously do it. No matter the challenges you go through, you will make it. So he was driven by passion. Driven by passion. Driven by passion. Edmund Hillary conquered the summit, the first man at Tenzing Nongre to conquer the summit of Mount Everest. Other people, by the way, later began also to climb, because when he conquered it, people saw possibilities. 7 times he had failed. The 8th time he said, I must do it. And he did it. I will wrap up with one final story, which I love so much. I love this guy. Bringing back the story home. The person who is driven by passion. Wow. Hope he gets to see it. The one and only drum rolls, Moses Gorola. Moses Gorola. Wow, when you hear Moses Gorola, man, I love that guy. Moses Gorola. This guy, I think passion is an understatement. Wow, this guy loves kickboxing. When he begins to rant and speak, you're like, man, who is this guy? Where has he come from, man? He has his signature words he speaks that change the way you can even see life. The guy talks and talks and talks and talks. He stands out of the crowd because he's a true definition of passion. When Moses Gorola speaks, he always says, never temper without temper. He's the only man who can tear off Facebook pages. When a car knocks him, it gets injured. When Gorola was born, he left his mom in the labor ward and went to announce the news to his father. Man, this guy is hilarious. Gorola is the only man who can pocket while he's naked. Interesting. Man, he jumped home leaving the mother in the hospital after giving birth. Gorola is his own ancestor. He can make Cameron Hills tremble. His signature statements are so hilarious. But this guy, on a serious note, is driven by passion. Moses Gorola, very, very famous man. I mean, I cannot stop quoting his hilarious statements. My energy is now volcanic. He says his energy is volcanic. It keeps erupting. The car has to look left and right to see if Gorola has crossed the road. Interesting guy. And on a serious note, he's a kickboxing champion for East and Central Africa. In 2011, 9th December, he had a match with Hungarian Andras Nagy. Very controversial, but very interesting because of his signature statements. Right before he went into the ring, man, the guy was speaking with passion, talking about his craft. He loves his skill. Actually, I would say Moses Gorola popularized kickboxing in Uganda. As a matter of fact, his brand is bigger than even the sport. When you talk about kickboxing in Uganda, Moses Gorola comes to mind first. He has done a number of things, and I would say he is a specialist journalist, driven by passion. Gorola, if you watch this, you inspire many people. You also inspire me. When I see you getting in the ring, man, I am inspired, and I'm like, wow, Moses Gorola has entered the ring, and he's going to deliver, and he's going to do it. I'll give you one bonus story. I cannot forget about this. When I was writing this book 2010, I also told you I researched people in different fields. I researched about Lionel Messi. Just a couple of days ago, the World Cup, we saw Lionel Messi being recognized as one of the finest in football. I'd seen that a couple of years ago, but his story is quite very inspiring. The things he's done in football, his passion, and of course his story being sick at one time in his life, and he's from a humble background, and given a chance by Barcelona, who said they will treat him to be able to go into football and play for them. So he accepted with his parents, then was relocated from the Spanish club to relocated from Argentina to Barcelona. And he began playing for them at a young age, and he's done a number of accolades. When I begin to mention the accolades, man, Messi has a very profound and impactful record. He's an outstanding person, a very standout person. He's won a record 6 times, and I think even this year he may be going for the FIFA Ballon d'Or recognition. He's won it 6 times in the past for best FIFA men's player, and also won the 6 record 6 times European Golden Shoe, as highest scorer in the European League, and has spent his entire professional career playing for Barcelona, where he won over 34 trophies, and has built a career with Barcelona. This guy, man, has done great exploits. I'll just give you some key tools and tactics that have made Messi outstanding. Number 1, he's driven by passion, yes, but what distinguishes him? Patience. Underline that, patience. It is said patience is a rare virtue for footballers. But this guy is very patient. When you see him play, he's patient. Every opponent on the field guns up on him, but as soon as he touches the ball, because they want to tackle him, because they know he's a great dribbler. So what he does is he looks at an opportunity and he suffocates all his opponents and attackers by his tactical maneuverability. He's a very good tactical maneuver person. He maneuvers them in a split second. When he gets that element of surprise, he dodges and sifts through. Messi is a patient person. Number 2, speed.